I'm back from holiday, mid-marathon training with having dealt with, hopefully, a terrifying injury scare.
Uh-oh.
So bear with me on the podcast today.
Oh dear. Well, welcome back, Andy.
Thanks.
Welcome to the Running Channel podcast, where pretty much every week we have Olympian Andy Badley, we have parkrun lover,
Uh-oh. What's coming?
knee surgery declarer, Rick Kelsey,
Take that.
and Guinness World Record holder, brackets pending verification, Sarah Hartley. That's
Are
me.
you ever going to stop banging on about this?
Is it still the world's deepest marathon?
It is the world's deepest marathon yet. One of the Guinness World Record
Andy,
holders.
you should have seen her last week. She was wearing a helmet.
I mean,
Which
you are
now is a
helmet.
part of our
Can we say that in the intro?
On with the intro, Rick.
Sorry. We are talking about a very important subject today, which is something that individually all nearly made us quit running. And it is for very different reasons, I'd say.
Should we get into it?
Let's do it. So we're just going to leave that hanging there?
Yes, we are going to leave that hanging. Look
We're not
at us
gonna tell
doing
people what we're gonna
a
talk
very
about.
enticing introduction, which you'll hear about in 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how much Rick wants to bang on about different things.
And that will be entirely dependent on how much running he's actually been doing. Because if he hasn't been doing any running, what he tends to do is research some nonsensical thing that he wants to talk about.
However, we did have a lot of emails about the P index and people wanting to know more.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, please
Did you
no.
listen to that?
Please
He
no.
didn't, did he?
The P index,
No,
I
he
was
was
in the
here.
episode for that.
Oh, yeah, good. You did.
He wouldn't have listened back to it though. That's
Well,
all.
I mean, can I
What's
just
a
say-
monologue from you?
Hang on, can I just say, this how much running I have or haven't been doing
Yes.
is actually something I've been putting a lot of thought into, because Andy
But
looked
not
up,
actually doing any
no,
running.
No.
I've been thinking
Andy
about it.
looked on my, I can't remember his Garmin or Strava, about my yearly total.
Yeah.
And he compared it, which is something we're going to do, to somebody else who we used to know. And he said, actually, Rick, you do more running than someone we used to know. And I said to Andy, I don't actually log all my miles. I went for a run at the weekend in the Wirral, which is a peninsula in the northwest of England where Andy and I grew up.
Literally no one cares.
Everyone cares. It's the greatest place on earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Between Hoylake and West Kirby, these beautiful sand dunes. I went for a run down the beach. I didn't even log it. I just forgot to press go.
Oh,
Well,
do you
there's
know
no
what?
surprise for many of us here that you forgot to use
So-
a piece of technology that was given to you.
And I ran twice on holiday, and then I went to Cheshire on the way up, Knutsford, and I ran there as well.
Wow.
I did log that one. So I reckon I
Bit of a
logged
slow clap.
50% of my... God,
I
you
went
hot,
up-
tough crowd.
I know.
I reckon I logged 50%, and I reckon a lot of people are like me. They do not log all their miles.
No, I do. And I went out for a run this week and I put my watch on charge before heading out, went for a run with Herbert. So there's like treat bags, poo bags, bleed, and then there's all of Herbert's stuff that I need as well. No? Funny?
What?
I just thought I'd get in there first.
Oh.
But anyway, then, so I got to
You were
the
so
run.
quick, I didn't even register
went
that you were
to
talking
the-
about yourself needing poo bags on a run.
Went to press start on my watch, wasn't there, was on charge at home. And I literally was stood at the start of this, I'd driven somewhere as well, and I was stood at the start of this forest.
Did
and
you
I
have
was
your
like,
phone with you?
So I manually recorded it on Strava.
This is you,
Such
Sarah.
a throwback.
So you and I did a film a couple of weeks ago, and you are starting or warm up while filming some links.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I've never recorded that.
for me, that's bonkers.
No, because I want to know. So I pay a lot of attention to my weekly mileage because I'm so consistent with weekly. Well, 9 times
Trying
out
to
of
be
10.
consistent.
Trying to be
I'm
consistent.
trying to be so consistent with weekly mileage that I know that if there's a big going out and filming for the day for a video, you could do an extra 6K.
I take that, but
Which
it's just
then means I'm taking off
constant
the run.
stop
Definitely
starting.
couldn't.
The constant stop
Rick's
start.
like 1.5.
Yeah.
One of my favourite videos that we've ever done was the 5K challenge when we split up into the OGs and the new Gs.
Yeah.
And
You
I
were
think-
distraught that you were an OG. Oh no, sorry. Do you not mean old and young and you were in old?
Yeah, it was, but I think it was just on time on the
channel.
On the channel.
Yeah.
And this was where so it's me, you and Anna were the OGs, head to head
Yes.
with Sarah, Mark and
Yeah.
Ashley on the track over 5K.
I didn't log that.
What?
Okay,
You didn't?
that's a bit nuts.
That was such a hard
Yeah,
run.
we were actually running quite a lot there.
Yeah, but we were stop starting.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So Owen's preparing the challenge that we're going to do. So we try every 6 to 8 weeks to do a full kind of all of the runners of the Running Channel meetup. And Owen's been planning what we're going to do for the Christmas one, and he put his suggestion of what challenge he wants to do, and it is unhinged. Like if we get to do it, the team are working out how we title it because that's half the battle. If we end up doing it, I think it will be the funniest thing we've ever done. Like you will be fuming. absolutely
Best thing ever.
fuming.
Do you know what it is?
I always know what it is.
No, he has absolutely no idea.
Right, okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I was just trying to make you feel like you didn't know. I've been doing some running though.
Yeah. So what happened with this injury?
So we're now recording on a Monday with 4 weeks and 6 days to go, approximately.
Not that you're counting.
Until Valencia Marathon. 10 days ago on a Friday, I was doing my interval workout for the week. And it also coincided with being all of a sudden the weather changed. So instead of being sort of 12, 13 degrees, it was 6 or 7 degrees. And that had a big impact, it turns out. And I just felt my hamstring kind of little electric shock almost going into cramp, like just coming to the end of one of my efforts. And so I just shut it down because it felt like a muscle tear. And then I was 2.5 miles away from my car at that point.
Oh, that's sad. Did you stash some stuff to snack on the way back?
No.
Did you stash some crutches and some bushes?
I am well prepared usually, so I could have gone to
have some bandages.
Did you stash a child in
Mile 2.
each tree on the way
Had you
back
picked the
to just
children up?
pull you back to the car?
You
Were
guys
we
quite
using the
finished?
children as mile markers?
Or maybe you could have stashed some reindeer and then a sleigh, and then that could have pulled you
I had my
home.
little running caches around Bedfordshire.
Yeah,
that,
nice.
like geocaching.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't get arrested for littering. Have you been arrested
Nothing
before?
stays there. It only stays there for like the hour or so that I'm running
Yeah.
for.
Also, who's more likely to be arrested here, Andy or you?
Well, when you go into the United States, they ask you if you've been arrested, and you just go yes
do you
for
have to
littering.
say yes? Hang on, do you have to say
Well,
yes?
when I crossed the border from Canada to the United States, they asked me if I'd been arrested.
And what did you say?
What were you saying about your run?
Hello.
Did you
Hello.
say yes?
I know you got in trouble with the local authority for planting someone else's garden in your front garden overnight.
Well, I mean, let's not get into last night at the proms.
What happened last night at the
happened
proms?
last night at the
Something
proms?
happened, but
That
you
is
know.
honestly the most like bougie arrest that could ever happen. Well, I was at last night.
I continued to sing Land of Hope and Glory deep into the night.
I tried to bring my own violin.
The limousine that I arrived in was going 2 miles an hour faster than the speed limit because I was late, but not fast enough to spill my orange juice that I had in the
If
back.
Rick arrives anywhere in a limousine, you know full well that he's going to be standing up out of the sunroof of that. Doing his... yeah.
Sorry, running.
Sorry, yeah. So
And then
you
his entourage will open the door.
You walked back to your.
Yes, then I had a 2.5
your
mile
bus.
walk back to my car, and it was freezing cold, and I'd stripped off my various clothes and deposited them into various bushes. So I was in like shorts and t-shirt.
I mean, literally, this in 8 degrees.
Yeah, that didn't go well. Then I panicked for the next 48 hours.
Nice.
And then after 3 days, on the third day, I managed to get a physio appointment. Actually, I'd spoken to the physio before that over the weekend, and he was basically saying, and this is a kind of a top tip in a way, because there are different forms of physio treatment. And this particular physio, who I've seen quite a few times, Matt, he is quite hands-on. So it's quite like physical treatment based in terms of obviously trying to assess various things, whether there's any damage and so on. But then also like, if there's going to be scar tissue or there's any elements that need freeing off, is like can be quite painful. And he made the point to me, is like, oh, if you have just done something, if you have just done a small tear or anything like that, I can't get my fingers in and kind of try and affect it positively until it's probably 48, 72 hours down the road anyway. So I was almost better off waiting from Friday till Monday to see him.
I see.
And then thankfully he said he didn't think it was a tear. And since then I have been, in the last 7 days or so, I have run 3 times up to like
Right.
30, 35 minutes.
there a message here,
But nowhere
though?
near marathon pace, which is a bit scary.
That you left it immediately when you felt that pinch and you walked.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like you didn't try to run to do the rest of the session.
I'm glad that I did. My default previously would have been like, I think I can push through this. And I was like, oh, this session's probably not worth all of it. And we're so close to the marathon now that if I have properly done some damage here, I'm not going to be able to recover in time. So,
How has it affected training / what was the plan from here?
so it means I've missed one of my longest runs. And actually only means that there's a week and a half's worth of training that's been affected. So now I'm just trying to work out what I can sensibly both fit in between now and the race, but also build back up to. Because I can't just go straight from like having had this scare to then, right, I'm going to do 32K in 2 days' time. So it's a balancing act, and I'll keep you updated because I haven't quite worked out myself, but it's day by day. So rather than planning out a whole week's training at the moment, it's like, right, tomorrow I've got to run 45 minutes. If that's all right, then we look at what the next day is.
Nice.
So trying to be as sensible as I can.
Exciting. Well, I mean, this has been like the most consistent kind of muted under the radar training block that I've ever seen you do. So I'm sure it'll be great. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It's really. I know a lot of people listening will be affected by this as well. It's really hit my confidence at a peak, a really important time in my preparation before the race. So the key is, I think, to get some of that confidence back. I'm not so worried about fitness. I'm more worried about feeling confident in my conditioning and that I'm going to be able to get through the race.
If it makes you feel better, whilst you were away last week, I did a track session with your lovely coach, Andy Hobdell.
Yes.
And we talked about you a lot.
You've been about 45 times by now.
I do. And we were talking about you, obviously. And I was asking for loads of funny stories with you. From his days coaching you. So I thought I'd share with the group because I'm just coming back from the marathon, so my running's quite boring at the moment. But two things. One, I was like, is Andy okay? Because I'd messaged you on Monday being like, how you doing? And he was like, I just don't know what he's worrying about.
Okay, good.
But I feel like that's a good, he thinks you're fine.
Okay.
But excellent. Then I was like, you know what? I really wish I would love to see the Andy that threw his shoes at you in a training session.
Oh, no.
And he went, wow, that's not the best story. And I was like, great. What is the best story? And apparently when he first started coaching you, when you were still at uni, I think, his method of, because I was like, what's the angriest he's ever got?
Oh, he's ever got?
No, so you've ever got.
Right.
And he was saying that apparently when he first started coaching you and doing interval sessions, he would say like, right, we're doing 8 reps. You'd get to rep number 8. You'd come across the line of the track, absolutely like hands on knees, dying.
Yes.
And then apparently he'd look down at his watch and be like, great, 60 seconds, one more. And apparently you would just look up and be like, I can't. I've got nothing left. And then he'd be like,
did I become a Dickensian
That's an EastEnders quote. Okay. And then you'd go off, you'd do the final rep, and apparently sometimes you'd like come across the line to throw up. Yes. And Andy would be like, great, good session.
Now you're done.
Yeah. And he was like, and the progress there was when we got to the stage where he would do that final rep and wouldn't throw up.
Did you throw up a lot when you were competing internationally?
Yeah, I don't think I've run a single personal best, actually, other than my post-professional ones, so like the marathon and half marathon. I don't think I've run a single personal best without being sick afterwards,
Did it nearly make you quit running?
Oh, nice. This is a good segue. Well, funnily enough, no, because that was me finding out. I mean, it was a lactate thing. So I was trying to buffer so much lactate performing at that level that then you finish, have your moment of either celebration or disappointment. And then kind of regardless of those two things, you need to go and find somewhere quite quickly to be sick. But that's how I always experienced it. But no, that didn't make me quit running. That made me knew I'd gone to my limit, which I wouldn't recommend for everybody. Absolutely.
What has made us almost quit running?
It's comparison. Like we joke about comparison being the thief of joy, but each of us has experienced a different type of comparison. And I think we're going to touch on how comparison, I think, has changed for runners in the last 10 or 15 years. So like certainly since I was competing as well, I really don't think I'd have done as well now as I was able to do back in the day, because it wasn't
because we've all got too fluffy and just, we're all terrified of offending people.
No, because I don't think it's that at all. I think we're all aware. Yeah. Like Andy would have to send a carrier pigeon to find out what his competitors were doing. Now you just have to go onto Strava, onto Instagram.
Oh, I see. It's the awareness of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the not being able to not see stuff. And, having people say, oh, did you see what this person did? And so for me to go, but like the title, and we should own up to the title being slightly clickbaity for this podcast.
It was, which we don't really do a lot. So allow us this.
Yeah, let us this one. Don't hate us for this. That nearly made me quit running. But it's not clickbait because it's true. In multiple instances, for me, I nearly stopped running because I just didn't want to do it anymore because I was so conscious of the pressures of comparing myself to other people. And so there's different phases of my career where I was comparing to different things. But certainly at the peak of my career when I was trying to win an Olympic medal, trying to win races around the world, I was, the nature of professional running is you're being compared to people objectively every single time that you race. Because if you don't win, then by definition you've lost and you're not as good on that day as those people, or you've not executed things as well. But I found it really difficult being away from running during periods of either injury or when I was deliberately not racing and other people were, and you see people that you think are your rivals performing really well. Yeah. And then you're going through a low patch and you just think, can I still do that? And that's we talked about Andy, my coach.
So you were sick of comparing. You were tired of comparing yourself.
Well, I think all you can do in that situation surely is compare. Yeah. Because it's not...
Could I have done that? Yeah. Can I still do that?
But comparison though, so when we say comparison is the thief of joy, which is what we've said kind of from the get-go. To other people as a non-pro, that is a valid, reasoned, decent statement.
Yeah.
To yourself, comparing yourself to last week can be incredibly beneficial.
Yeah.
Because you can see that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now, the third part of that is comparing yourself as a pro when it's your job. Yeah, this is our job, but as a pro, as you've been, comparing yourself to other runners is vital because you need to get ahead of the game and try and beat them.
Yeah. So that's the knife's edge that you're walking, I think, as a professional anyway, is that for the most part, it drove me forward to be better. So I remember I can remember a specific training session in Richmond Park, doing a hills workout with a good friend of mine and training partner, a guy called Matt. And I remember him saying something to me. I don't know whether Andy had planted this thought with him actually. But like we were, I think we were doing 10 or 15 of these full out hill reps. And he just turned to me after one of them and he was like, what do you think so-and-so is doing right now? And it was one of my biggest rivals in like world running. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, language. I was like, beep, 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 beep. I was like, what do you think?
Why is your beep beep so
no, it's
so
just a genteel beep.
Yeah. You like, screw him.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean? But then I was fired up and I was like, and then I imagined.
He planted that.
Yeah, 100%. But it worked because then I absolutely buried him. And I remember like the next few reps, he was like, nowhere, and he was supposed to be training with me.
Oh, really?
And then afterwards he's like, I wish I hadn't said that.
This is what I was going to say though, is that I think comparison will set off one of two things, and this is where I really struggle with comparison. It either fires you up, gives you something to work against, and really sets you up for success, or it kind of gives you that, isn't the phrase that Andy Hobdell loves to use, 7 feet tall and bulletproof.
7 foot tall and bulletproof was my mantra when I was at my best. Yeah, it was like, that's how I wanted to get on the race track.
And I think that's like such a, if you are comparing of like, no, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be in the fight against this thing. Equally though, I think on the other side, comparison can make you feel really inferior and can make you feel, I think there's so much that we see and that we digest. And definitely from my perspective as a runner, it almost desensitizes you to incredible achievements that people have taken on. Like how many, because I think as well, like the danger of social media is that whilst everyone is trying to create a very safe and inclusive space, there is a little bit of algorithm bias or like scroll bias or just an unconscious bias from people that actually I think for a lot of people's algorithms you do end up with the fastest people on your feed or like the most accomplished people on your feed. And so suddenly seeing like a sub 3 hour marathon, it feels like, well, I've seen 10 of those today, so
because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, everyone else is doing it, and then it can slightly make you feel like, well,
you've got to tune out.
I'm not sure I can do that.
You've got to tune out from it. You've got to, this is where if you're that competitive physically, then you've got to not look at that stuff.
Do you think that's the solution though, not looking?
I think you've got to limit your time on how much time you look at this.
This is what I was saying about the change in 10 or 15 years. So the peak of my career, we're talking 2007 until 2013. The social media didn't exist in the same way as it does now. Strava didn't really exist. So when this guy, my training partner, I was like, oh, what do you think your rivals are doing right now? And that logic there of him giving me that motivation was kind of the same idea that like, oh, well, I'm training on Christmas Day because I know my rivals might not be, or I'm worried they might be, and so I need to do at least the same as them. Yeah. There was no way of me knowing what someone else was doing. It literally wasn't possible. Maybe someone might have posted something on Twitter.
Well, there you go.
To say like, but so I couldn't do it, and actually the fear of the imagined hard workouts and stuff that other people were doing was enough to motivate me. Yeah. But I think I'd really struggle right now with if I could see everyone's Strava. But or if a friend would like in a WhatsApp group, like, oh, did you see what so-and-so did last week? Do you think you could do that?
I get that completely, Andy. The least social people I know are the people who are most on social media.
Profound.
That was profound. That took me a couple of seconds to digest. Do you know the other thing as well with social media is that you never have the whole picture.
Yes.
And I think that's, especially from like a running perspective, that's really hard because you get snapshots and you read it how you want to read it. So if you look at someone's run that they've done, you can't see from that actually they're making all the wrong choices and they're about to get injured, or
it can help
they're
you,
doing it for this reason. It can help you, but
so
I do think it's dangerous.
If you spend a reasonable amount of time on it, it can be useful. You can go, oh right, I didn't realise that. That's a really good tempo session. That's a really good threshold workout. It's like, oh great, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll use that.
Yeah, so that's the key, I think, is Sarah's point is bang on. I think this is where so many people came unstuck, and people I used to race against professionally came unstuck here as well. You see a lot of even pro athletes that jump around between coaches because they never quite settle onto one philosophy. My point would be, it's not, most of it isn't about the training plan itself, because there's lots of different ways that you could train for a 5K or a 10K or a marathon, whatever it might be. And no one of those ways is exactly right. But the point is that your 16 weeks is bespoke to you if you're training for a certain amount of time, or what you've done in this week is related to what you did 8 weeks ago or 6 months ago. So seeing one person's workout in isolation and then thinking, oh, well, why aren't I training like that? It's like, well, because you don't know what that person did last week and the week before and even the day before. Yeah. Well, but you do know what you've done the day before. And very few of my workouts as an athlete, even when I was trying to be number one in the world, were world class. But no one else could do 4 weeks of my training. Well, that's certainly how I treated it psychologically.
I know when I was trying to be number one in my postcode,
number one at parkrun. Well, you came back from a pretty serious knee injury, and there must have been an element of comparing like what you could do before the injury to what you were able to do when you were coming back. How did you deal with that?
Well, I think that probably that did nearly make me quit running, because there was just a point where I never thought I'd get back. So it was forced onto me that I thought that would make me quit running, because I thought that's just a ridiculous aim. Let's just try and walk a bit first. Let's just try and get from A to B first. And yeah, I can't relate in the same way that Andy can relate to it. And Sarah, neither of us can we? But I do understand like that feeling of loss of if you love something and you think it's good for you, and that maintains you physically and it also maintains you mentally. If you can't do that, what fills the gap? I do get that bit. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same experience, and this is when I was at my lowest. Is when I was 3 years post London 2012, and I'd just been battling this injury that no one could diagnose, and I just was this shadow of my former self. But I was still a professional athlete, and that's why I introduced myself to people as. And I just couldn't do it anymore. But I was comparing myself not only to the people that had almost taken my place on the world stage or the British stage, because I hadn't really been able to compete properly, but I was also comparing to myself pre-injury. I was like, well, why can't I do this anymore? And then I had the surgery, and then built back up to try and go for that 2016 Olympics, try and make 3 Olympics, and got back to a pretty good level, but I wasn't the athlete that I used to be. And it sort of gradually dawned on me, and maybe to the point of acceptance, but it was the comparison that was so hard. I was like, well, I'm doing the same workouts as I did previously. Yeah. And then there were 2 ways. One, during the build-up, I was doing those workouts and they were slower than they had been previously. And I was like, oh God. But then I actually got to the point where those workouts were pretty much the same as they had been prior to my surgery. And I was like, oh, I'm ready to go. But I just couldn't race in the way that I used to race. And so I was comparing myself to what I was able to do previously. And I think that's because when I was at my absolute best, I was doing a workout, and it's exactly what you said at the beginning, that story where he's like, I could always do one more rep. So I knew I could massively raise my gain in a race compared to the training. Whereas post-surgery, and as I was battling to get back, I think I was leaving everything in training just to be able to do the workouts that I'd done previously. Yeah. And then when I went to do the race, I was flat because I couldn't step it up from what I'd done in that training, because I'd buried myself.
But then I think if you look at like you're running now, like you're so motivated in this marathon. Like you're so but I think that's super interesting as well, because you did quit running essentially. You retired as a professional athlete, but you found that love of it again because you have stopped comparing yourself to that person, because you're not a professional athlete anymore, but you still are able to go out, enjoy running, get hopefully the same fulfillment out of it by just pivoting and doing something else. And I think that's a message that people can hopefully take away from this as well, is that you can compare yourself to other people on the internet, to previous versions of you, to what you're doing. But I think comparison has to have a positive impact on your running. Otherwise, there's just no point to it.
Was it a year, Andy, that you didn't run for after you finished in 2017?
Much I hardly ran at all. So So now I would say that firstly, I shifted weirdly to, I think we talked about this, from miles to kilometers in order to start running again and enjoy it. And actually when I started running, I was just using a regular stopwatch. Actually, a lot of the time I wasn't running with a watch. I wasn't logging anything. I didn't care how fast or far I was running. I was just like, oh, this is fun again.
can relate to that,
I don't want to be unfit. And then when I changed to, kilometers and miles, I had it in my head as a professional that broadly anything slower than a 7 minute, like anything with a 7 at the beginning of it, per mile running, was like sort of was slow and was like, and then now I'm almost all of my running is 7 minutes something per mile, even when I'm trying to run quite hard for marathon training. And so,
and it's just completely like it's a completely different context, isn't it? Yeah. But I do think switching up what you're used to, especially if you're comparing to yourself, is so important. And that's probably one of the best things about running, is that I'm not sure you can find the same elements within like tennis, for example, or like sports where it is on the face of it so linear. There's like one way to do it. Whereas with running, you can change distance, different terrains, trail running, run in different places.
Completely.
Like you can obstacle course running.
Yeah,
I'm still 7 miles an hour.
running.
But I would say my healthy comparison now is, rather than comparing over larger periods of time, it's actually like day to day or week to week. So I like seeing the improvement week on week just by like showing up. So my motto is just keep showing up. And when you hit a little road bump, speed bump, like an injury or a niggle, then you take a step back. And if I compare myself now to where I was 2 weeks ago doing my longest 30k run for the marathon, and I'm a bit like, oh, that's not great.
But next week, way better than this week.
So now perhaps it's looking ahead comparison rather than looking back. So I'm like, next week I can be better by doing these things. And in order to do that, I need to just keep showing up, which tomorrow means running 45 minutes and not looking too far beyond that. And that's been a much healthier way of me approaching that kind of comparison.
Well, if you're listening or watching this and you are struggling to pick what's next, then this week's club episode for our members might be really useful, because we're talking about finding your next running goal, what comes after race day. So go check that out.
Yeah, that's it.
If you want to have a listen.
Extra episode of the podcast that you get in the Running Channel Club, which incidentally, we've been talking a lot about algorithms and so on. We were thinking about ways of describing, obviously you could just join the Running Channel Club and get the extra podcast, but also there's an app and a community there. And it's broadly just lots of runners in there, no algorithm, just people whose like real opinions about real running that you can ask.
Also such good chat. Such good. I'm
Well,
not
they
sure.
give you a lot of stick. So
They give me a lot of stick. They give Rick and Andy a lot of stick as well. My favourite one is, I feel like in the club you really get to know the different members of the Running Channel office. And our club lead is called Stevie.
Yeah.
And basically within the app, you get points depending on lots of different things. There's a bit of gamification, and someone did a post which was like, who is this person and why is he the deliverer of points every time I do a post? And it was just a screenshot of Stevie's profile, which is him like midway through Malaga Marathon.
there we
Which,
go.
if you know Stevie, he loves being the owner of the points.
Yeah, it's fine. He loves being the centre of attention.
He
so
really
let's not
does.
give him any more airtime.
Oh,
No,
no,
sorry.
let's not.
Should we talk about the news?
Yeah, still the only man I know who's eaten 8 eggs for breakfast. Yeah,
It's
Stevie.
like
That's quite a small breakfast
Do you
for
read
Stevie,
the
to be
Mr.
fair.
Men books to your kids, or have you ever?
I have done, yeah.
The Mr. Strong book.
Oh, yeah.
he has like, that's his breakfast is eggs. And
Eggs.
then for lunch, eggs. For dinner, eggs.
Yeah. News.
New York Marathon.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it happened.
last weekend. It
Yeah.
did happen.
Yeah.
Jess ran her 37th marathon of the year.
Her air miles must be magnificent.
They really are.
She's
I
never
think
here.
her winter plan was avoid running marathons in the UK. And it's going
Is that what it
very
is?
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Apart
Literally
from Cape
constantly
Town
on a
being
plane.
cancelled.
Yeah, Cape Town should have been her 37th, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now New York, I think she's doing one in the UK, and then she's also got Valencia,
Yes, with me.
Malaga, some other places.
Yeah, she's
She's got 5 left.
all over the place.
Two
She's
finishing
getting
up in
there.
the
Loads of
peaks.
loads of, whatever. She's all of a sudden got, because she piled some in for a period.
The 8 and 8 really
Yeah,
helped.
yeah, that's
Like the
kicked
maths
her
of
on.
the 8 and
Yeah.
8 really helped. Also, speaking of New York Marathon, Kipchoge got his 6-star medal.
Oh, yes. He finished 17th, didn't he? But he also announced a new challenge.
He did announce a new challenge. So over the next 2 years, he's aiming to run 7 marathons in 7 continents.
Did it say whether this was going to, it's over 2 years. He's not trying to do the like 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days thing.
No, that is a different celebrity
Okay.
who's doing that one, I think. But I think it's really cool. It's the Kipchoge World Tour, Move out, Taylor Swift. There's a new world tour in town.
Yeah, and he's talking about running with purpose now instead of whereas purpose previously had been times and medals. Now it's purpose in terms of fundraising for his foundation, effectively.
Yeah, and he said, but now I say it's not a retirement, but a transition to running for a purpose, and this purpose is the purpose to serve humanity. So he's aiming to raise 1 million for the Eliud Kipchoge Foundation. I think this is really cool because we've talked before about it's so hard to retire as an athlete.
Yes.
Do you retire on a high? Do you retire? And I think he has done it so well because everyone was buzzing. Like no one cared about his time yesterday. No one really cared about the position. Sorry, we're recording this on Monday, so it was yesterday for us.
Yeah.
Everyone was just buzzing, and now they're even more buzzing that they get to see him again. Because I think there was a bit of sadness of like Kipchoge gets so much airtime no matter where he's placing. And I think people just want to see him out running and loving it. Yeah,
I wonder, is there just a controversial take as well? I think it's good. I think it's the right timing because you do need to support the other, like in a bad way, like in golf when Tiger Woods plays, even when he's like coming back from surgery and he's not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
All the media attention is on him. And then people win stuff and they're like, well, but see,
you're not the GOAT though.
Well, yeah, because he is the greatest of all time. He's this incredible ambassador for the sport. So it's actually, I think it's a great time to do something that's purpose led. It's really, really exciting. And it's kind of like it's his legacy, right? Like,
7 continents. So that means he's running in Antarctica.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Has that happened before?
I think so. Yeah.
There is an organised, and it's very expensive to do it, but there is an organised event every few years where you can do the 7 in 7 days in 7 continents, which is crazy. We've signed you up for it next time, Rick.
Yeah, we have. Your polar suit is in the post.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing 7 in 7 weeks or 7 in 7 months.
You'd be quite up for doing 7 marathons.
You want to do
weeks?
7 marathons in 7 weeks?
No, go and view them.
Oh,
No, we're talking about running them.
View them. That's a marathon.
Can we talk about
back on the plane?
New York as well? So there were 2 standout British performances as well. We are biased, but that's what we're going to do. So Patrick Dever was 4th in his debut marathon. So 4th in a big city major marathon, New York.
Wow.
In a fast time as well in what's traditionally a slow course. So he ran 2:08.58, I think, which puts him top 10 all time.
Yeah,
and that's on his
pretty
debut.
hilly.
Yes, it's a tough course. And then Jess Warner-Judd, also on debut, I want to say she was 7th in 2:24. So again, I think a top 10 all-time time, and in New York.
There's a lot of standout British female performances across the marathon, which I think is going to be super interesting as we head into selections.
Yeah, and then how does that motivate you? So if you're one of like, so of the top, I would need to look at the stat, maybe look it up for next week, of the top 20 all-time women's British marathon times, probably 15 of them have been set in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So then we've talked about comparison and like how that drives people to greater heights. I think when you have got 2 big rivals going for something or multiple rivals, it makes people better.
Yeah.
But it also means some people fall by the wayside because you get injured chasing those gains. You get, you train a little bit too hard, or you just can't quite get there, and you don't get to be one of the 3 that make an Olympic team or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and as we know, the selection for like the Olympics is so fiddly as well. It's not just on time. So the fact that they have got like
where you do it and
a deep pool of people,
and then
I'd be irritated if I was trying to make it to the Olympics.
You want to just be like, I'd be like 5 to 10 minutes quicker than anyone else. Yeah. Just, I've got this in the bag.
Just be like, I'm really happy that you've decided to run a marathon and you're really fast, but it's my turn.
And a final comparison. So I think quite rightly we celebrate these amazing performances. 2:24 is phenomenal, and anyone running that kind of sub 2:30 time is now quite rightly in the conversation for British teams and so on.
Yeah.
But Paul Radcliffe ran 2:15. So I know we're talking about comparison and so on. Like this should be our final bit of comparison. She didn't do 2:15 in New York, admittedly, but when she did do that, you think about how that
is mad.
How
much that is.
Just how far ahead that is of. I'm not saying. Yeah, I guess it's just that it's the same in the men's as well. We quite rightly are being like, this is incredible to run 2:08, 2:09.
Yeah.
But if people are winning races in 2:01, 2:02, and in the women's races, people are running, well under 2:20. It's amazing how far things have leapt forward. And it's quite, I just think that's a fascinating thing to think
she
about.
was doing it consistently for so long.
Yeah,
20 years ago.
Was head and shoulders the best in the world for the marathon for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it shows you, and she was running in very basic shoes, all that sort of stuff.
You make that sound like she was in like sandals from the Greek times.
Hey.
Very basic shoes, just a bit of leather.
She was just in normal trainers.
She was. She's basically wearing what all of us are wearing right now.
Yeah.
Questions,
Yeah,
Rick.
a really good one on predicted time today.
Oh, okay.
Jessie from Bangkok, originally from Twickenham, though, in West London. I'm currently training for a 10-kilometre race, and it's going really well. So well that I'm on for a PB, which is something I didn't think I'd ever achieve again.
Nice.
I've had 2 children. My youngest is about to turn 1. And since having kids, I've just been a slower runner until now. My 10K PB is from 2015, and I have confidence I can do it sub 53 minutes. However, my watch and training app both think I can do it in 49 to 51 minutes. And that's what my training plan has been aiming for. I'm hitting all the paces, but don't know if I can sustain the 4:55 pace for 10 kilometers. Do I trust the data, or do I run to beat the sub 53 time, which I have the confidence to do, and not risk burning out and walking and throwing the whole thing? Help me, please.
This is such a good question.
It is.
Because, do you know why as well? Because as we all know, as runners, apart from Rick, we love a round number. I think there's 3 things at play here. Sub 53 minutes, sub 50, and then lower end of the spectrum, 49 estimation. Andy, what do you think?
I think that I would take the data from a watch or Strava or wherever it's coming from with a slight pinch of salt. And I would think about the workouts that you've been doing. And so if you're doing a workout, which is almost like a simulation workout, or consistently you've been doing the workout and you've been treating 10K pace as whatever pace you've been treating 10K pace out in those workouts, that's the pace that you should be ready to run your 10K at, regardless of what your prediction is. You've literally been doing stuff at 10K pace in workouts with relatively short recovery. That's the pace that you've been training your body to run at. So don't move your own goalposts.
Equally though, I was going to say, how I would pace it, because the thing with a 10K as well is that you can race this one, leave it a few weeks, and then go out and see if you've got more in the tank. But I would say for this, set out at 52:45, 53 minute pace, and then if you get to 7K and you feel really good, ramp it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's got to, like, 53 minutes is the fastest you've ever run in your life before. Like, why try and take 4 minutes off it in one go?
Kiss the PB.
Kiss the PB.
Do a Mondo
Give yourself another chance.
You could PB between
times.
now and Christmas 30 times.
30 times.
And that is a newspaper headline. I PB'd 30 times between November and Christmas. That's cool.
She's had 2 kids. It's like, having a massive injury and, you don't run for a couple of years, coming back. And if you can go faster after you're in,
also, then I think you could
you've
dedicate,
had the massive injury or you've had kids.
You could dedicate
that is amazing.
Each PB per child. Like, you don't want to go out once and then be like, don't worry, darling, your PB's next week.
Kiss it.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I think you should go out, like Sarah says, and remember the third quarter of any race. So 5K to 7.5, 5K to 8K, 6 to 8K, and a 10K is the hardest bit.
Yeah.
So get to halfway and then really push hard to maintain your pace and maybe go a little bit quicker and get to 8K and then dig as deep as you can. And see what you've got left.
That is good, Andy. That's Sarah. That's what Sarah did with me a year ago now in Oxford.
I can't believe that's a year ago.
Do you remember all 4 colours?
Half marathon.
I do remember. I remember that fried breakfast that I had.
Yeah, the fried breakfast.
So what is it?
It's green the first 5K.
Yeah, green. Then amber, then red, and then yellow. Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, light at the end of the tunnel. That's for a half.
That's from Chris Taylor.
Third quarter in the 10K should be the red one. That's the tough one.
Yeah, and that's hard. And then if you break through that, ding, ding, ding.
I still think the final
straight.
5 are the hardest, but I know what you mean. Mentally, it's kind of the hardest.
Yeah, I'm determined for my marathon this year to remember what I said last time, which is everyone told me that 30K is halfway. And I was like, no, 20K is halfway. And it's not even halfway. Went really hard from 20 to 30 and then died. Whereas what I need to do is be sensible and then get to 30K and then push on.
Yep,
I'm buzzing for you, mate. I'm buzzing for you.
Will you even get out of bed to check the tracking app for Valencia?
Oh, I definitely wouldn't download that.
No. Fine. It's fair enough.
I'll text him
with updates.
Could you call me when you're running and tell me how you're getting on?
Do little voice note.
Absolutely. They do that with people in the BBC, like BBC's coverage of the London Marathon, don't they? They're like, FaceTime people mid-marathon, like
Yeah.
Harry Judd.
Harry
You
Judd.
can do
Sarah,
it
try not to
actually.
wilt.
Oh,
Wilt is such a good word.
I just love Harry Judds.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, and I think that's okay.
That was fun. More questions like Jesse from Bangkok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. We'll see you next time. I was
Bye.
just thinking about
Yeah,
Harry
Rick
Judds.
completely forgotten to work out how to finish the podcast there, but
Bye.
yeah, bye.
Bye.